Renowned Islamic scholar and Imam of Al-Mustafa Mosque, Creek ISGH, Sheikh Dr. Eiad Sudan is known for his faith-inspiring sermons that attract people from far and wide. Today we bring you one of his most significant speeches to brighten these blessed moments of Ramadan. You can listen to his insightful words and strengthen your faith.
We assume that they already know all the answers. If the uncles win, all the youth who have any kind of smartphone will give it back to their parents, and their parents will give them instead that flip phone, the only one which you can only dial and call. This is what the phone is for. Originally, the phone is just so that you can call people, not to go play games and go on WhatsApp and waste your time. Last time in my khutbah Jum'ah, I noticed some people were doing it, and I told them to stop in the middle of the khutbah, because you lose your reward. And the Prophet ﷺ says, if you play with the pebbles, you know some people draw shapes, imaginary shapes in the carpet because you're bored in the khutbah, you lose your thawab. So don't do that. So we agreed that if the uncles win the competition, all the youth will lose their smartphones. Are we happy with this agreement?
No.
All the uncles said yes, all the youth said no. But nobody will care about the youth's opinion, right? Which means, let's say you are able to do a few arkan of salah without the chair. So let's say somebody cannot do sujood because of a medical issue, back pain, whatever it is. Then you start the salah standing like normal. You do ruku' like normal. When you get to the part which you cannot do, you use the chair. We notice sometimes, unknowingly, some brothers and sisters, they start the salah sitting on the chair. But they can stand. They don't have a problem with the standing. So use the chair only when you need it. And you say the password, and it appears right in front of you. And subhanAllah, in this dunya, no matter how rich you can be, you're not going to get to a point when you think about something and you say two words and it appears before you. Right? The most rich, maybe he can have a button, press the button, somebody asks what do you need, maybe in a few minutes they can bring it. Right? And it will not be the same as version of Jannah. There's دعواهم فيها, their dua in it means in Jannah, سبحانك اللهم وتحيتهم فيها سلام. Their greeting when we see each other inshallah in Jannah, we say salam alaikum, the same way. So, but their dua, so don't forget, you might be in Jannah and you forgot the password and now you don't know what to do. Like, I really feel like some biryani, but I don't remember the password. What are we going to do there? So don't use the AI there. Same with the AI, we're running away from the AI. So the password is Subhanak Allahum, 2 words. Imagine in Jannah, you think about what you want, Subhanak Allahum in front of you. So that's what we're going to do, because everybody knows the answer, I'm not going to count it again. Question for tomorrow, inshallah we're going to count this one. You know, when we read the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us the story about the messengers when they go to their prophets, to their people, and they tell them about La ilaha illallah, the people don't believe them, they go back and forth, and then they end up saying to them, we're not asking you for a reward. لَا نَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا. Every prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to his people, he said that statement, I'm not asking for a reward, I'm doing this for Allah. Except 2 prophets. You read the whole Quran, Allah sent them to their people, and they talk to their people, and their people give them trouble, just like all the other prophets. But they will never say to their people, I don't need your reward. Who are those 2 prophets? This is the question for tomorrow. So this is the question. The small khatira, we want to continue our journey in the hereafter. So we come out of the grave. And the answer is yes, of course. Allah says in the Quran, وَنُخَوِّفُهُمْ. We want them to be scared. Basically, you either feel safe in the dunya, not worry about it, and be scared on the day of judgment, or be scared of it in the dunya, and Allah will give you the security and the safety on the day of judgment. Or you don't worry about it in the dunya, and you will be scared in the akhirah. So which one you want? The akhirah is forever. The dunya is not forever. So we need to know this. This is reality. We come out of the grave. Everyone will go to the land of resurrection, which is in Ash-Sham, according to the Prophet ﷺ's hadith. Ash-Sham. The same location today, but not the same land. Allah will switch it to a different land. It will be silver in color. Now, how do people walk there? 3 types. We'll end with this, inshallah. Some people walk on their feet like we walk. They are okay. Some people walk on their faces out of humility. Imagine somebody walking on his face. So, those who did not care about Allah on the day of judgment. This is a question for our young uncles versus the youth. I count on the uncle team, by the way. How did the Prophet answer that question? Nobody knows the answer? Allah can answer all questions, Allah. This is the ability of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, this is the second time. We ask Allah not to be from them. This is the worst. The third time, they don't have to walk. The angel will be waiting with a ride. You don't have to walk. You will be basically transported there. Imagine, people will see each other. Some of them walking, they see other people on their faces, and they see some people passing by them on their own floating, basically. VIP status. There is a VIP status on the Day of Judgment, by the way. Tomorrow or next time, inshallah, we'll talk about those who will be standing under the throne of Allah, the shade of the throne of Allah. When everybody standing under the sun, sweating so much, some of them drowning in their sweat, and some people will be under the shade of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reward is already given. It doesn't make sense. Musa alayhi salam was talking to Fir'aun. Same situation. Fir'aun was the one who raised him up when he was young. So he cannot say to him, I don't need reward from you. He will say, I already gave you the reward. So Musa and Ibrahim alayhi salam, those two never said to their people, I don't need reward from you. So that's the question from before. Question for tomorrow, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the day of judgment to us, how scary that day is going to be. To a point that a person will say, oh Allah, take my children to hellfire in my place. I mean, who do you love more than your children? A person will get to a point saying, oh Allah, if I can sacrifice my children, يبصرونهم يود رجلهم ويبتدي من عذاب يومئذ ببنيه وصاحبته وأخيه وصلته التي تؤويه من في الأرض جميعا ثم ينجيه. He will be saying, take my children, take my spouse, take my siblings. Try, he will never say, take my parents in my place to hellfire. Why would he not say that? That is the question. No, we can't say he's good for his parents. At this point, he doesn't care. But he will not say, oh Allah, take my parents in my place. Why? Nobody will say that on the day of judgment. That is the question for tomorrow, inshallah. Tomorrow, you can send me the message, inshallah. Alright. On the top of that, very dark. And the sun's heat is multiplied 70 times over the sun which we know today. Imagine, just a small example. In August, 12 o'clock, try to stand outside Houston under the sun. How long can you survive? One of the imams, I forgot his name, Eiad, I believe, they found him crying one day. He said, why are you crying? He said, I was thinking about hellfire. If Allah locks me up in the sauna, when the heat, imagine you're locked up in this place. How long can you survive? Then how about fire? And there's no running away. So it's a serious thing. Allah forgive us and give us His mercy. Now, people are standing, waiting for the judgment to start. And they are sweating because of the sun. And they are thirsty. And the Prophet ﷺ says the throats become like pieces of wood. But there is no death. No more death. That is the last death. When we die, we'll come back to life. That's it. Death will die itself. Death will come in a shape of a goat or a sheep, and it will be slaughtered between Jannah and hellfire. Which means death will be slaughtered. There will be no death anymore. So people will be thirsty under the sun. Let's talk about this, make me thirsty now. It's really terrible and it's really dark. Now Allah will give people light according to their iman, how much they believe in Allah. Some people will have no light whatsoever. Some people will have a small glimpse of light on their thumb. A broken flashlight with old batteries. It comes on and off. Some people have light over their body. And some people have so much light that others will come and say, let us stand with you. يوم يقول المنافقون والمنافقات للذين آمنوا انظرونا نقتبس من نوركم. The hypocrites, because the hypocrites, they used to pretend that they're believers. So they will go to their believers' friends and say, we used to pray with you. Can I stand next to you now in your light? And the hypocrites, of course, will have no light whatsoever. So this is the situation, and it's much worse than that. Some people will be turned into insects, and other people will be stomping over them, stepping over them. They're arrogant people. Arrogance is such a dangerous thing. May Allah save us from arrogance. The hadith that really scares me from him with that. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, he will not enter Jannah whoever has an atom of arrogance in his heart. And to be honest, I think we all have more than that atom. Sometimes, we don't say it out loud. We think, look at me, look how great I am, I have this, I have that, you don't have this. We don't have to say it. An atom of arrogance will be our problem on the day of judgment. Takbir. Jazakallah khair. And congratulations, mashallah. Of course. Ameen, jazakallah khair. It makes us happy that we, alhamdulillah, and people are, and if you can make a big mess, that's even better. And if you can take 2 bottles, that's even better. Let's try reverse psychology. In terms of the gaps, make sure we leave huge gaps in between, so we can even walk in between each other. And in terms of the kids in the back, make sure you bring your smaller kids and make sure they run on the screen as loud as they can. And if you find a kid sitting on the side quietly, make sure to tell him to get up and scream. How about that? Reverse psychology works, and I'm afraid that some people will take my word for real. No, they always follow the Imam whenever they feel like it. Whenever it feels good, we follow the Imam. There are people, as we speak, they wait for the rain to collect the water of the rain and drink it. So when you and I stand before Allah on the day of judgment and He says to you, you did this and you did that, what are you going to say? This is what we're talking about. In terms of the gaps, I noticed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will look at our rows. Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِهِ صَفًّا كَأَنَّهُم بُنْيَانٌ مَرْصُوصٌ. You should be like a building. Do you see holes in the building between the bricks? This is the way we should be. So the gaps is another issue. Now in terms of the kids, people come here for peace and tranquility. People want to come here and stand before Allah and have some khushu'. We have this issue everywhere I go, and the parents get upset. You mean you don't want us to bring our kids to the masjid? Did the Prophet ﷺ do this? Did you hear about the Prophet with his companions having this issue? The Prophet's talking and there were kids playing in the back? It never happened. And those who say Hassan or Hussein, they used to jump on their grandfather's back, not on somebody else's back. There is a big difference. And one time the Prophet ﷺ was giving a khutbah and he saw Hassan coming, a small kid, a baby. He didn't want him to make any disturbance, so he called him in the middle of the khutbah. And he held him and he continued his khutbah while holding him. So let's be honest, and let's be honest. I know some of you might not like this, but we'll try to please Allah at the end of the day. The masjid is the place that we follow the rules the least at, true or not. We go to Walmart, you don't park in the handicap parking if you don't have a sticker, but in the masjid, it's okay. Allah Ghafur Rahim. Allah Ghafur Rahim only in the masjid. We break all the rules in the masjid, and if somebody tells you, brother, this is against the rules, you get upset. Only in the masjid. Only in the masjid. Let me ask you a question. Do you let your kids, if you go to visit your friend or your brother, let them run and scream back and forth? You let them do that, and this is the house of Allah. I know some people will be offended. By the way, we want our kids to love the masjid. We do. And if there is no salah going on, it's fine to come and play and have fun without breaking anything yet, inshallah. But when people are praying, we pray janazah inside the church. But you think there was noises in the church? Everybody's so quiet, everybody's sitting respectfully because this is a place of worship. This is a place we want to come and have some peace and tranquility. So please, it's not against anyone in person. And by the way, we don't want you to stop bringing your kids, just teach them. Her parents taught her. She was not born this way, obviously. So the parents, you want to bring your kids to the masjid, you are very welcome, your kids are welcome. We love them as much as we love our own kids. But teach them the manners of the masjid. By the way, if you wait, they will get older and they will not know the etiquette of the masjid. You will find a kid who's 15 and 16 and 17, and he does not know how to stand still in salah. It's like he's dancing right and left. Because we did not teach them when they're young. It's for your own sake, please take care of the house of Allah, regardless of the masjid you go to. So please forgive me. So Umar thought that the companion thought that Umar killed his uncle. So Umar went to the companion telling him, you know what, I didn't kill your uncle, maybe somebody else killed him. And then Umar said, you know what, you remember all the day of judgment and the sun and people drowning in their sweat? There will be people standing under the throne of Allah. Imagine everybody is suffering and you're not standing under any shade, not a tree or a hill or a mountain. You are under the throne of Allah. Why? Because you loved your brother for the sake of Allah. You will be standing with him under the throne of Allah. It is worth it and it's not difficult to get. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us like that. And inshallah ta'ala, I forgot to answer the question, do it quickly. Why will the person who says, oh Allah, take my kids, he doesn't care. But the reason why, only a couple of people answered it correctly actually. The reason why he will not say to Allah, oh Allah, take my parents in my place, because he knows if he does that, Allah will be more angry with him. He's already in trouble. And then he says, oh Allah, take my parents to hellfire in my place. Allah is going to be even more angry. You were supposed to go there for 10 years, 20 years now. I mean, 20,000 years, whatever it is, and Allah save us from hellfire. So that even the criminal knows that he cannot even say or think about giving his parents in his place. Basically what changes is that you go to the bathroom more. Right? The more water, the more bathroom you go to. This fact is mentioned in the Quran. Which ayah? You or your family, there is a center in the brain that tells us that we're thirsty when we are thirsty. After 60, that center doesn't work very well, which means a person can be thirsty and he's getting dehydrated, he doesn't feel it. And the number one reason for heart attacks is dehydration. Because the body will not ask for water much after the age of 60, but the body needs it. So this is a free medical advice, inshallah. Hopefully, may Allah put that in the scale of opportunities.
In the last viewers, you have witnessed how dedicated individuals serve Islam and inspire faith through their speeches. So stay with us for more such enlightening program. This is me, Tabinda, signing off. Stay tuned for more news. Desi TV USA, DTVN and our OTT platform DTV Flex, where you can access to over 3,000 channels. So stay tuned and stay with us.
You came to this country for a brighter future for you and your loved ones. You've made it this far. Now it's time to become a citizen. With citizenship, you gain the right to vote, access to federal jobs, the ability to keep your family closer, and the freedom to travel with a U.S. passport. These are just a few of the benefits waiting for you when you become eligible. We're here to help you through the process with free resources and personalized guidance. Together, we can make it easier. Get started at becomeacitizentoday.com.